All right, welcome back to Tricks and Tips. All right, first thing, talking about those logos. You guys are doing some sketching and some other stuff. And I said it Tuesday and I'll say it again today, experiment. And I wrote a lot of people, I'm like, all right, cool, this looks good. Play with it a bit more. Like it's try some things out. You never know unless you try. It's a little bit like using Photoshop, like you'd be working in Photoshop and then you hit the blend mode and you're like, oh my God, I wouldn't look at that's so awesome. And then it works. And you're like, I would never known that if I wasn't playing around, if I wasn't trying to discover new stuff. So I'm gonna, push you, like you came up with the design, good. What if you, like tweak it, like move it, try a couple different things, work with line thickness, work with other things. The other one is work with color. All right. And you don't have to do it on your own, friends. You don't. Adobe, our great friend, sponsored by Adobe, has like a color palette generator that is pretty great. I use it. I'll go in and use it and dig around. So it's just like color.adobe.com. You may be awesome at color. It's great. But you know what? It's good to see other things sometimes and good to see how they go together. Back in the day when I was a young designer, I had this book, and it's a tiny little book, and I'm not kidding you. It's a tiny little book. It's 4 by 6 inches basically, and 360 pages. So it's just, basically you just throw it in a bag, like you can carry it with you. It's not very big. This is Color Index 2. There's a Color Index 1, and then I think he's got another book. I still have this from back in the day. I was hoping it showed a page from it, and it doesn't. The jerky doesn't. But what it is basically the print version. Let's see if this one does. It's the print version of Adobe Color. He's going through stuff. And it basically, this is it. It's page after page of color setups that get more and more intricate. Well, now print is out, right? Like nobody's going to buy this, but I have the print book because back in the day it wasn't available. But you can just like go here and like click on explore and look at like what's out there, what are people making, and you'll be like, going through and be like, oh my gosh, I really like this. So you click on it and it's got all the colors for you. You can copy all the systems and try out that set of colors. Like give it a shot. Why not? It's there. It's easy. You can do it. You can create your own. Remember 103 when we went over the color unit? I don't know how many people had 103, but analogous, monochromatic, triad, complementary, split complement. Like you just click on it and then start moving stuff around, and it will make your color palette. It's a really great way to play around and like see how you can get things to work, and you might discover something new. Try something out. A big one too with that is like, if you do a sketch and it's like cartoony sketch, hey, what if instead of the black outline, and you hear me say like make it a dark color, what if you made it like white or a bright color? How does that affect the look? Hopefully they do it in cartoons now a little bit more of like, instead of always the outline maybe being black, once in a while they'll switch it and they'll have the outline be a lighter color so it sticks out. That's a cool look. It doesn't always look like an X-ray, but get out there, try some of these things. Like look on this. This is free. It connects into your system. There's even a color game. You can play, watch the color. Remember the sequence. Well, I'm not gonna play that, but check it out. Like it's always good to just get a different reference, a different set of eyeballs. Like you're working in one way, maybe you'd be like, oh, this is maybe a color system I like. Let's get it. And then you just pick it up from them. It's, free. Do a screenshot, go in and place it in your file, and then eyedrop it across the board and make like 5 of your own swatches and be like, these are the 5 swatches I'm using. which I should now. Okay, so now I just added something. So here, let's do this. I'll try to be quick because I have 3 things I want to talk about. All right, but let's do that. Oh, look at this red. I'm gonna do this red color combo. I'm gonna open that up. Boom. For right now, I'm just gonna do like a screen grab of it. Done. Then I'm gonna go to Illustrator. I'm gonna go File, Place, and my screenshot. Where's my? Oh, I'm on desktop. Right there. Place. Boom. All right. Make it small. Nope. Here. Scale tool. Just go to 25. I don't need a big. Zoom out. Find it. And of course, these are now muted because I did a screenshot and brought them in, but whatever. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So, but what I want to do is I'm going to do this. And I'm just doing this in case anybody forgot. I got this color, and I really like this color, and I want to use more of it. I wish I could do a lighter version of this color. Okay, this is how you do it. And this is the quick way, all right? So I got that color. I'm in my color area. You should all recognize this. You've all been using Illustrator and InDesign for quite a while, I think. I got my color. So I'm going to go to the swatches area, right? It's the dots. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to double click on it. Oh, is it spotting me already? Oh, please. Why aren't you doing it? Oh, plus. Not double click. Oh my God, sorry, brain dead today. All right, hit the plus button. So let me go back because I stalled out there in my brain. I've got my color. I got this chosen. I go to fill. I'm on swatches. I hit a plus, and I change the process color to spot color, and I hit OK. Right here, see that little guy? It's got a little dot. That means it's a spot color, which means when I go back to this, I can now do any tint of that color. So if I'm rolling and I got a cool design and I want 50% of that one color, there it is. Here, if I want 100% of that color, there it is. And then I can, you know, when you place those together, it's a perfect match. So that's how you, if you have a logo and you want to be like kind of rad, like 60s, like monochromatic and just one color, that's how you do it. Don't fuss and fight and try to like figure out the 50% or put like color overlays. You just turn your color into a spot color. So that's a pretty rad way to do that. So like here it is. I got the orange. Click on my orange. It's looking great. It's not a perfect match, is it? But whatever. Oh, let's make it a perfect match. I mean, I would have downloaded it from Adobe if I wanted it absolutely perfect. Why am I even trying right now? Oh, there it is. Look at that. Got it matched. Go to here. Go to spot colors. Go to plus. Process color spot. And and then you can rename it. That's the fun part. Like, I think I can't do orange because orange is taken. But there you go. And then I want to change it. And then I have all tint tones and shades of just that color. So there you go. So use color wisely, have fun with it, push it around. Like, don't just stick around with your first color set. Oh, the other one, put your logo on like 7 different colors. What do I mean? We all design on white. But what if your logo's on dark blue? What if your logo's on red? What if your logo's on green? How's it going to look on different areas? You know, like you should play around with that. It's not always going to be on the color you think it's going to be on. So play around, make sure it looks good. Do you have like, like you can set standards like, oh my God, it should never be put on this, but start to play around. Look at all those different situations in which your logo can live and what it's going to live on. And maybe you'll surprise yourself about like what you can do and something that wasn't there is there again. All right, let's turn that off. I'm getting all up on the margins on you guys. Most people are doing them correct. Setting that margin. How do I set the margin? Just set little template. And the reason we do it in pink or magenta is back in the day. So you guys, to be in the class, I believe you had to pass Craig's class, which was packaging. And when you do packaging, you do your layers in colors. You use 100% yellow, 100% cyan, 100% magenta. That goes back to the day like a lot of pre-computers in which we could strip out. It's called stripping out. And so you would send them the file and they could, in their way, say like their computer system would be anything that is 100% yellow can like, they could strip it out and remove it and you wouldn't see it. And so you'd make all your marks in that and then they could print it, but strip it out and then put it back in. And that's why you do it. But again, you make that stroke, it's got no fill, and you go to layers and you just simply, and you go to template, Dunzo, and just leave it on. You turn it off at the end, but leave it on. So why would I need that for any sort of coolness? Well, here's where you use it for like really cool stuff. I wanted to design and I want to grid it, but I want my grid, instead of like just pulling standard grids, like I don't want square. Like I want it on a diagonal. I want all my setup to be a diagonal. That's like, I'm doing Bauhaus, I need a 45 grid. So you just do that, copy paste, turn this, and it's not a perfect 45. No, it is. Oh, weird. I didn't want it to be, but I'd go and adjust that. But then so I want to work within this and I get everything set up perfectly. And I can grab them all and then change them to, I'm going to turn off that. Well, I'll go to properties. You guys can see it better. No fill, stroke, do cyan, or what's the color of the guides are like a little greenish, whatever. But I can make those cyan, and then in layers, I just simply turn that to a template, and then it's working. And I never have to worry about it. And everything I set up, I now know will be on like the perfect 45. And so like when I'm like, inserting a picture or something, I can be like, okay, perfect. Like I did really poorly there. But I know like if I do this here and then I want one here, like I'm in the grid system. I'm in that diagonal grid. I can make it look how I want. And you might not use it all the time, but when you do need it, knowing how to do this is great. It used to be a thing I would always have to look it up. I'd be like, working on something like, oh man, how do I make that template thing again? You guys are learning now how to do it. Because you can do it with any shape in the world. You can just make that shape a template. You want like curves going through, you can set up curves and have them be the template and know that like everything is going to follow that curve. Speaking of curves, text on circles. It's easier than you think. Type on a path tool, right? Always do it. What? When is it not letting me do it? This isn't a compound path. There we go. I don't know why I was doing it on the first one. Place it into a perfect circle. You can adjust this to fit. And so for a lot of you, what I'm seeing is, say that's your text and it's offset. It's not a perfect circle within the perfect circle, or the circles are the wrong size. You have to make sure that like they're perfectly centered. You want that spacing to be absolutely perfect. A lot of what I see happen, and you can, I find this somewhat frustrating too, is you can do inside, outside, and I always get it pulled wrong. It's pulling that little tag there, inside, outside, inside, outside. I struggle with this to this day, just to let you know, but at least I know it's in a perfect circle. The other thing is like, you're like, but I want an arch. Well, an arch is a part of a circle. So one, make sure you're perfectly lined up. If you are, working, use circles and then remove circles. So I should be able to make this an arch. I think I can do this. All right. So now this is a perfect arch because I took a circle and I cut it in half. I think it may not let me do it. No. Z. Well, one, I wouldn't have that much text anyway. So I just move this around. Like I would keep this and like, oh, Chillville, and then now I can make it big, but I'm just watching where it is. So these circles match. So make sure your circles and your arches match each other because, well, I'll make that big. Let's just. And then I can move it. Nope. You can rotate this too. That's the easier way. Make sure things are centered, aligned. You can do that with the tool too. Oh, so like if you're sagging down, like if I might be like, oh, hey, it looks like your Chillville is like a little off. Should it be centered? You can do center type, and then that marker right there is the dead center. So you make sure that that's vertical in the piece, which is just a little bit off of center. So use the tools. They're all here to talk about, show you what's there. Where you run into trouble is if you don't use a circle for an arch. Say it's like you do this. You then need to scale this. But what you'll see is how it doesn't fit anymore. That uniformity is wrong. It's too tight here. It's fat here. It's too tight here. It's not an arch. This is a long way to do it. This is probably the way I'd probably do it though, is I would grab this. Do the stroke and like do it to the thickness I want. It would be double. Let's go up to like 40. So then I have an inner arch. This is my standard arch. I have an inner arch and an outer arch. I'll go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And then I can go in. And you have to do a couple things, like don't just start right here. I'm grabbing only the edge, this edge, and I'm gonna hit delete. I'm gonna grab this edge. I'm gonna hit delete. I have two arches, but there's still, it still thinks it's the same one. If I hit expand, it should take off everything. So then I just want to make sure clipping mask, compound path, those aren't activated. Those are activated. It'll screw up everything. But now I know that all of these are perfectly concentric with each other, even though it's not a perfect arch or perfect circle. So you have to make sure you're matching. Like I said, like this, now if I move that closer, it doesn't work. I have to redo that. I have to get it to match. So that's some of the intricacies of like using arch setting type and then being like, oh, it's just the smaller version of this arch. No, mathematically, it is no longer a smaller version of that arch. As you can see, it tightens up. And then so you have to recreate that arch. And I would, honestly, that's the way I would do it if I needed it smaller or bigger. And you know, play with the type. Oh, and then this just becomes a type path. Oh, it's outlined. Oh, it outlined mine. So it's not going to work. See, it's a thick. You always got to double check this stuff. Computer sometimes does stuff you don't want it to do. Oh, it's got a ton. Just delete those. Delete it until you get an arch again, and then you can type on that. So that's how you make those clean arches, okay? There's like arches are different than circles. Circles are easier. There you are. Grab this guy. Center it up. Boom. That fits that. So that's how you work with arches. So you got to be like circles, far easier to adjust. Circles are infinitely scalable. Small one matches the larger one, matches the bigger one, matches the bigger one. Arches, not infinitely scalable. They start to crush down on the sides. And so you have to go through more work, making sure that if you want a rainbow and you want the text to match the rainbow, you have to like then work it and figure out all the curves. You can do it. It's easy to do. It's just you got to take the time to do it, which is maybe not what everybody wants to do. So color choices, play with your logo, text in a circle, arches, and template layers. Any questions from you all about how to do something, how to work on something? All right, cool. Well, experiment, have some fun. Let's see some rad things happen. Try something you've never tried before. You know, reverse the colors, do something, you know, like do a bunch, put it on different color backgrounds. There's a ton you can try. The more you try, the more experimentation you do, the more interesting it might become, and you'll learn more stuff along the way. So cool. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I'll take care of them. Yeah, and any other questions like this, just post them. I'm happy to go over that kind of stuff in these classes too. Show you how to do weird stuff. So, all right, cool. Looking forward to see what you come up with. Take care. Have a good one. All right, bye-bye.